Kunja Vihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Jai Radha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Jai Radha Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Jai Radhe. Garanita Jaya Garanita Garanita Jaya Garanita. Jai Jagannath Swami Jai Jagannath Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nusum Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Yogadharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord is Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namne. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayed Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So today we will be discussing from Canto 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam. The title of this canto is The Creation of the Fourth Order, and chapter 24 titled Chanting the Song sung by Lord Shiva. Verse number 8, which doesn't have any purport, so we'll go to 9 also. So verse number 8. Havirdhana dhavirdhani Havirdhana dhavirdhani Vidurasuta shatsutan Vidurasuta shatsutan Varhishadam gayam shuklam Varhishadam gayam shuklam Krishnam satyam jitavratam Krishnam satyam jitavratam Havirdhana dhavirdhani Vidurasuta shatsutan Varhishadam gayam shuklam Krishnam satyam jitavratam. Havirdhanaadhavirdhani Vidurasuta Shaksutan Varhishadam Gayam Shuklam Krishnam Satyam Jitavratam Havirdhanaadhavirdhani Vidurasuta Shaksutan Varhishadam Gayam Shuklam Krishnam Satyam Jitavratam Havirdhanaadhavirdhani Vidurasuta Shatsutan Varhishadam Gayam Shuklam Krishnam Satyam Jitavratam Havirdhanat from Havirdhana. Havirdhani, the name of the wife of Havirdhana. Vidura, O Vidura, Asuta gave birth, Shat 6, Sutan sons, Barhishadam of the name Barhishat, Gayam of the name Gaya, Shuklam of the name Shukla, Krishnam of the name Krishna, Satyam of the name Satya, Jitavratam of the name Jitavrata. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Havirdhana, the son of Maharaj Antardhana, had a wife named Havirdhani, who gave birth to 6 sons named Barhishat, Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya, Jitavrata. Please repeat. Havirdhana, the son of Maharaj Antardhana, had a wife named Havirdhani, who gave birth to 6 sons named Barhishat, Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya and Jitavrata. Let's go to 9th verse also. Directly to translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, Havirdhana's a very powerful son named Barhishat was very expert in performing various kinds of fruitive sacrifices, and he was also expert in the practice of mystic yoga. By his great qualifications, he became known as Prajapati. Purport. In the beginning of the creation, there were not many living entities, and consequently, the very powerful living entities or demigods were appointed as Prajapatis in order to beget children and increase the population. There are many Prajapatis. Brahma, Daksha and Manu are sometimes known as Prajapatis. And Barhishat, the son of Havirdhana, became one of them. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukam Garoti Vachalam Pangham Langhayate Girim Et Krupatam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. So, this is the 4th canto. Every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam has different, it takes us to different levels of a spiritual life. Here, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada was writing, there were not many living entities at the beginning of the creation. To deny that there is no soul, some people put forward an argument that if souls are there, then how come there are many? How come there are many? The body is the product of matter, and we are also product of matter, and there is a plenty of matter. So there is a possibility for many living entities generating more in number. Otherwise, how it is possible? But the spiritual understanding is different. Spiritual understanding is we are not these bodies, whereas we are souls. How to understand that? How to understand that? It is a very simple in this way. There is a thought, for example, there are many thoughts in our mind, right? Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. So thoughts continuously flow, right, in our mind. Then are we thoughts? There is a thought and there is an observer of the thought. Yes, there is a thought and there is something which is observing the thought. So it means the thought and the observer are different. Similarly, there is a body and there is observer of the body. So they are not same. They are not same. So there are living entities, we are living beings, and we are souls within this body. And souls are innumerable. There are many, uncountable. Just like how Lord's glories are uncountable. Our Lord is Ananta, right? The Lord is infinite. So, and He is infinite. And sometimes people say that, how can you worship a deity? Lord is infinite. Come on, we don't have to worship deity. Whereas you are restricting the Lord. You know, He is infinite. You are reducing the power of the Lord. These are all bogus theories. They are all bogus theories. Why? Because it's a very, the Shastra Pramana is the ultimate Pramana. And by considering the Shastra Pramana, we will come to that Pramana, Shastra Pramana. You can understand the Lord is infinite, right? So if He is infinite in all respects. And one of His infinity is His power also. So by using His power, if He cannot come in the form of a 6-feet deity, so it means He is not infinite, right? He is not infinite. In other words, when we say the Lord is infinite, within that everything is included. There is no restriction at all. Rather, by saying that the Lord cannot come as a deity, they are restricting the Lord. At the saying Lord is infinite, at the same time they are restricting the Lord, saying that He cannot come in a deity form. But He will come in deity form. He will come. So His power. It's His power. He will come as deity form. He accepts everything. Whatever we do, the services, He accepts them and He reciprocates accordingly. So he'll do. Now, now what is this pramana? There are many, many pramanas to understand the knowledge. Right? One is pratyaksha. Right? Pratyaksha pramana, it means we gain knowledge through these senses, the five senses. If you observe, we gain knowledge through these senses only, like eyes, or ears, tongue, skin, and nose, right? So we gain senses, and then after gathering information through the senses by direct perception, and then we process it, and then we understand it. So that's called pratyaksha pramana. That's called pratyaksha pramana. It means we see something, and then we analyze that, and then we try to understand what we observed through eyes. And similarly we hear, and after hearing it goes, and then inside, and then we process through mind, and then we understand. So this is called pratyaksha pramana. And then there is now pratyaksha pramana has limitations, many limitations of pratyaksha pramana. Like for example, our eyes are limited to see certain width of, those who studied science, they can understand certain width of electromagnetic field frequency, right? Certain width. And beyond that we cannot see. So there are limitations of eyes. Even within the visible spectrum, there are so many limitations. Many limitations. Srila Prabhupada gives one example. He says that we see the sun, and sun looks like a disk. But when we improve our pramana and observation capabilities, and then we can understand that the sun is not a disk, it's actually spherical in shape. Yes? So in other words, till we improve our pramana, the understanding that the sun is a disk may continue, but after that it is a failure. After that it's a failure. So the gaining knowledge through pratyaksha pramana has limitations. It means we may not be able to understand what the actual truth is. So, and then comes anumana, right? Pratyaksha and anumana pramana. Anumana means guessing or speculation. See, for every material knowledge, although there is a lot of speculation, but they accept the authority, right? Even on material field, they accept authority in understanding the things. Like those who wanted to study engineering, they accept authorities in that field. Yes? And similarly, different fields. It's a judiciary field, they accept the authorities. The people who wanted to enter into that system, they accept the authorities. But when it comes to spirituality, very miraculously, they deny authority. They deny authority, and then they speculate what God is or can be. They speculate. They say God has no form. They say God will be like this, will be like that. Suppose you have some name, right? Now if everyone, they didn't see you, and if we ask everyone, try to understand you, okay? How much speculation if they undergo, they will be able to understand about you. Will they be able to understand your, even physical parameters? They cannot understand, right? Like, you are this much height, your features are like this, your skin color, your eyes color, your length of hair. How much they can understand by speculation? But when it comes to God, they speculate too much. They speculate. Particularly God has no form. Why this God has no form is deep-rooted. If one understands, if one thinks that God has no form, then immediately the process of surrenderance has gone. That is the original problem. What is the original problem? The original problem of every living being is they don't want to do the things as per the Lord given instructions. They don't want to follow the Lord. They don't want to do whatever God says. So, to avoid that, it requires surrenderance, right? To do or to follow what God says, it requires surrenderance. Whatever level of surrenderance. We are not talking about the ultimate surrenderance. We are talking about the minimum acceptance is also a kind of surrenderance. So, to avoid that, they indirectly say that God has no form. So when they say God has no form, then they don't have to do whatever God says. They don't have to form relation with God. They don't have to act or lead their life in that relation. Everything gone. So it completely satisfies their conditioned heart. Completely satisfies. That is why the Lord sometimes will not give darshan, rather than the Lord will show, can this be off? Haribol, can this be off? Yeah, thank you. So the Lord appears. He doesn't show, he doesn't reveal his personal form. Rather, he keeps the light coming from his body as it is. So the people will see only the brightness of the Lord. And then the observers think that, hey, God is light. All of a sudden light appears, and then God is like light. This is a very, very childish. Very childish. Very childish. How? Suppose, I think I told this example earlier. Suppose a closed room and some voice is coming. And then a child thinks that, hey, in Iskcon temple the rooms are talking. The rooms are talking. And then he will go to other children and then say that, in Iskcon temple, rooms are talking. This is a very miracle. This is a very miracle. And then he will say, adults also. And when adults are trying to say, and they say that, no, I have seen personally, you don't know, rooms are talking in Iskcon temple. Rooms are talking. So this is a childish. Any person who have learned the knowledge can understand that very easily behind the room walls there are persons. So similarly, behind that brightness there is the Lord's personal feature. Personal feature. And that personal feature is more important than the brightness of the Lord. The brightness of the Lord is called Brahman. Brahman. So sometimes Lord appears like that. Why? Because the Lord only have to cater the desires. The Lord only have to cater the desires, because He is the source of everything, right? If He is the source of everything, who fulfills our desires? Demigods cannot fulfill our desires. Although, they may fulfill, but they are not the ultimate agents or ultimate source. Ultimate source. Krishna is the ultimate source. So Krishna only had to fulfill the material desires. Now, coming to this canto. Now let's come to this canto. What this canto did? This canto deals such kind of material desires and their effects in our lives. In our lives. And this canto, the major this canto is divided into different sections, right? The very foremost section is Daksha episode, where Lord Shiva was insulted by Daksha, and Lord Shiva's wife, Mother Sati, commits suicide, and then Daksha was killed, right? This is the Daksha episode. The Daksha was killed by Virabhadra, the son of Lord Shiva, Virabhadra. Now, the whole episode is based on to teach us the after effects of the fruitive desires. What is a fruitive desire? The fruitive desire is something, a desire which we, by fulfilling it, we derive some self-happiness. That's called fruitive desire. It means we involve in activities and then we try to derive happiness from those activities. So that's a fruitive desire. Now the after effects are very, very deadly. Very, very deadly. Lord Shiva explained very clearly to Sati Devi. Of course, he explained the after effects and then he gave the choice to Sati Devi. What are the after effects? The after effects are very, very deadly. It may go up to losing our own life. Losing our own life. So that's the effect of fruitive desire. But Sati Devi did not pay attention to Lord Shiva's words. So one of the problem of fruitive desire is it will not, or it will block us, or it will not allow us to pay attention to the protective words of superiors. Superior words are very, very protective. Lord Shiva is, who is more expert than Lord Shiva in devotion in this material world? No one. So he's a very expert. So, but Sati Devi could not pay attention. Similarly, it means the fruitive effect, the effects are very, very deadly. Now, if we observe the material world, particularly, let's say nowadays, the fruitive desires are many. It becomes an unending list. I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have, A to Z also is not sufficient. So many. Now look at their lifestyle. They're getting heart attacks at the age of 30. Why? You know why? The heart attacks now increasing at the age of 30. It's just, the simple reason is just prolonged sitting. That's it. That's the only reason. Prolonged sitting. Because people are sitting right from the waking up to the sleeping time. They're simply sitting and then giving work only to these 8 fingers, or maybe sometimes 4 fingers only. That's it. So they are losing their life. So fruitive mentality zaps our energy, it zaps all our capacity to think, our power to help others or help the society. It just consumes. So this is one of the disadvantage or the negative effects of fruitive mentality. And the another effect of fruitive mentality is they will not approach the all-merciful Supreme Lord, rather they approach the lesser persons. That's one of the disadvantage. Like for example, we know Satyajit, right? Satyajit, Satyabhama's father. So Satyajit was worshipper of sun god. Lord Krishna says that the power for the sun to glow, to radiate, to give heat, everything is coming from him, Lord Krishna, the power to sun. He is saying that. In other words, even sun is capable of, see, just earth is capable of to give gold, right? Where are we getting gold? Where are we getting diamonds, different stones? From the crust of the earth, right? I mean, not the center core of the crust, but some deep, some kilometers deep. So if earth is able to produce so many things, then what about the sun? Sun is able to produce so many jewels. So many jewels. And all that power is coming from Krishna. But Satyajit settled to worship sun god rather than worshipping Krishna. So this is the result of Fruitive. Why the Satyajit settled to worship demigod? Because when persons think fruitively, what happens? They desire to enjoy the results of those fruits. But when they come to Krishna, they have to offer the results to Krishna. This is what the problem. This is what the problem of conditioned souls. They don't want to give the results to Krishna. So they don't want to approach Krishna. So they approach demigods. And whatever the demigods offer, that's not good for them. Look the result, what happened in Satyajit's case. Whatever sun god offered, that very same thing caused his death. Caused his death. Whereas, what Lord Krishna gives, even to the free-to mentality people, if Lord Krishna gives something, it will not harm them. It will not harm them. Rather, it will act as a purifying agent. For example, Dhruva Maharaj. Right? Dhruva Maharaj approached Lord Krishna by a fruitive desire. Yes? But that after Lord Krishna appeared, the fruitive desire of Krishna, the fruitive desire of Dhruva was gone. Was gone. Right? So this is Krishna. So Krishna clears the fruitive desires. Or in other words, for Krishna to show the mercy, the fruitive desires are not hindrance. So this is a good story, a good side of the story. Yeah. So for Krishna to show the mercy, it doesn't depend on our precondition of our heart. Whatever the condition of our heart, Krishna can show the mercy. This is a very, very good thing, right? It doesn't matter whatever we are, how many negative things we are carrying. But Lord Krishna will show the mercy, but on one precondition. That is, we should not act negatively upon them. We should not act. But it's a very difficult to act on negatively by using our powers. Like for example, here Avirdhana, right? Avirdhana's father was, actually his name was Ashwajit. But he was given another name also, Antardhana. Antardhana means he can disappear at his will and then he can appear. Antardhana. So just imagine if anyone has that power, suppose if you have that power to disappear and appear. Disappear, but he'll be there only. So, and then if we want, we can appear. So, can we handle that power? We cannot handle that power. It's not easy to handle that power. So, the powers are like fire. The unhandled or uncontrolled fire will, burn us. Will burn us. So Indra used that power to steal the sacrificial horse, to disturb the sacrifice of Prithu Maharaj. Right? But Yeah. But Aswajit or Avirdhana's father, he gave a benefit of doubt, thinking that, no, Indra is a very, very highly advanced person, but he is doing on occasion something like this, disturbing the sacrifice. Then it means there is something else. So then he took that position and then he stopped attacking Indra. So that gave an advantage to turn towards Krishna. In other words, if we act fruitively, then what will happen? We will also behave like, tit for tat. Tit for tat. And when we behave tit for tat, then guess what will happen? In presence of Krishna also we do tit for tat. Hey Krishna, you didn't do this to me, so I will not do that for you. So I will not do that for you. As if Krishna wants something. Krishna doesn't want something. He doesn't need anything from us. So we don't need to say, Krishna, oh, I will not do this. We don't have to say that. So this fruitive mentality will make us in tit for tat, domain. It pushes us in that domain. And those things will keep on coming in our mind. If someone does something in our perspective bad, and that keeps on come to our mind, and then begins disturbing, it disturbs us, and then So this is the another disadvantage of fruitive mentality. But Prithu Maharaj was not like that. Antardhana was not like that. So guess what happened? The mercy of Krishna flowed in their life abundantly. Abundantly. In fact, after the sacrifice, Vishnu appeared in front of Prithu Maharaj along with Indra. This is a very nice. He appeared along with Indra. And then Vishnu told Prithu that you forgive Indra. And Prithu Maharaj forgave. Prithu Maharaj forgave. So this is a proof that one is not acting upon fruitive mentality. In other words, the quality of forgiveness will curtail the fruitive mentality, will encourage us not to act on fruitive mentality. So there are many, many glories of forgiveness, quality of forgiveness. There are glories for each quality. Each quality there are glories. Just like Krishna has unlimited glories, and all the qualities of Krishna has unlimited glories because they are related to Krishna. Like humility, he has wonderful glories. Forgiveness, he has wonderful glories. Sense control has wonderful glories. Everything has many, many glories. So one of the glory, not to act on fruitive activity, or in other words, quality of forgiveness. Of all the qualities have one main primary glory. That is, they have potential to form a relation with Krishna. What else we need? What else we need? Forming relation with Krishna is very, 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 very. It has a all problem clearing capacity, or all problem fulfilling, solving capacity. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, he was so genius. He was feeling so sad that the people who are coming from Calcutta to Mayapur, they are unable to travel on the pothole road on those days. In those days. So, but he was requesting, but nothing is happening. So he had a brilliant idea. He called a British general, the topmost Britisher, and he invited him to Mayapur. And then the general agreed, and then he ordered, lay road from Kolkata to Mayapur, I have to travel. It took 3 months to lay the road. And very smooth road. And then the general came, and many people criticized, how can you invite a materialist to our temples or something like that. And Bhaktisiddhanta ignored all the things. Because he knew what he is doing perfectly. He knew. And then after that, everyone understood, oh, this is the reason. Everyone now can travel to Mayapur very easily by the road. So, if such an ordinary powerful person, if we invite, our problems are solved, then will our all problems not be solved by inviting Krishna in our lives? How can we think like that? They don't, our problems are not solved. Our problems are solved. We are not seeing that, that's it. We are not seeing our problems are already solved. Because we are thinking the problem, still the problem. But actually the problem has already gone in our lives. All problems. In just one shot, inviting Lord Krishna into our lives. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Otherwise we will end. 9-2. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. How to invite Lord Krishna, Hare Krishna in our life?
How we invite Lord Krishna into our lives? Oh. You have already invited.
Hari Bol.
You have already invited. You are already chanting. Right? So you have already invited. What can I say more? You already have in front of Krishna, you are chanting, sitting in temple hall and chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. I guess you applied Tilak also. You are already invited. Now how to continue that invitation? We have to begin acting in that invitation. We have to learn by the guidance of devotees, guidance of devotees, how to continue in that invitation, how to act in that invitation. And they will guide us. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki